Good evening, Friday evening, May 22nd, 2020. Oh man, I have had a completely rich full day and it's later than it normally is when I'm making my video. So this is going to be posted a little later. However, I just got home from work, so hop in the shower, come out here before I go in and debrief, chill out, and go to sleep. Because I have an early morning tomorrow morning. And one of the reasons why I strategized to work this evening instead of doing it Saturday or Sunday was so that we could carve out as much relaxation this weekend as possible and work on the projects that are important to us. And so that was just a strategy put into place, even though right now I'm kind of feeling exhausted and really, a little bit overwhelmed by the intensity and the length of the day. But switching that to gratitude, because truthfully it gives me and opens up this huge window to allow myself to really relax this weekend, which is something that I don't normally and regularly do because I'm go, 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 or I have been. That has been the tune and the tone of my life forever, and I feel like I constantly have to hustle. And I'm reevaluating a lot of things in my life, and that would be one of them. This fact that, life is supposed to be meant to balance those things. And I only ever, have sort of played in that full steam ahead mode and unintentionally hurt myself in those areas because of the intensity of that and the high stress that that can be. And within that intensity, the feeling that encompasses my body, which isn't a great feeling. So, trying to pay more attention to those things, trying to get more mindful or to be more mindful about the things that stretch me a little bit too far, and then be kind and compassionate with myself instead of beating myself up and going, oh, there you go again. And, are you ever going to learn? And are you ever going to figure this out? And all of the things that I could normally say to myself. And in this moment, working to be compassionate, graceful, and kind to myself, which is just such a phenomenal gift. And today, speaking of gifts, I got to have a socially distant experience with one of my sisters, my auntie and uncle, my sister-in-law, my mom, and it was socially distanced in there. I don't know, there's this beautiful experience that happens when we're all holding our space for each other and that we're respecting each other's space, although we're still having a visit and there's still that, connection that happens, that it's done in a way that's respectful of all of our boundaries and all of our needs, which was amazing. So I got to spend some valuable time with my mom, who I love spending quality time with. My mom is a vivacious 70-year-old woman who is just knocking it out of the park as far as how to age gracefully and how to just own all of who she is and show up as that over and over and over again as a living example of how to grow older with grace, with with potential, with not falling into the status quo, with setting a tone on how aging can look like, and really being aligned with health and wellness in the aging process. So I really appreciated spending time with her today and spending time with all my loved ones and getting to hear little snippets of what's going on in their lives, and then being able to contribute and make a contribution on what's going on in mine. In that, it meant that I had to be away from one of the calls that I've been consistently on, the Zoom call, every time that it's called for. And then a couple of days ago, I was at Costco, so I didn't get to tune in then. I had to listen to the recording and do the homework by myself. And today was the second day where I didn't show up for that class in the class itself. I altered the agreement to fit what I needed to today, which is not my norm. I usually just stretch myself way too thin and go at it, a million miles an hour and try and do, multitasking and everything else. And I don't care who you are. No one is good at multitasking. You could have fooled yourself that you are. You could have practiced to the point where you feel like you are. But the truth is, when we split our focus, then we're going in two different directions at the same time, and we cannot give our all to this one area. It's impossible to do. And so instead of trying to spread myself so thin and listen and call and talk and listen and drive and, all the stuff, I allowed myself the grace to bow out today and say, okay, so this socially distanced visit is more important to me than being on this call, and I have a huge fear of missing out. So even though I watch the recording and I see everyone interacting, and I love community-based projects, I love groups where we work together, I love input, and I love, taking from, and the truth was I was feeling a little bit sorry for myself today. I was like, well, that was kind of a bummer, I don't feel very recognized, I certainly don't feel a part of, and I dedicated to making sure that I watched the video, and all the way through, some of the things that people were saying started to resonate with me. So I would pause the video, go on to our group page, and comment and say, hey, this person, tag them, and I don't know these people well. I've only met them a couple of times and we're in this class doing this work together, but something that they said resonated with me. And so I stopped what I was doing, made sure that I went to the page and recognized what that was. And I had this totally cool experience of coming from this place of longing to be recognized, to be noticed, to have some attention, to certainly know that my contribution is making a difference, and feeling a bit sorry for myself that I didn't have that experience, and it felt like lack to me, and I felt like a bit of a pity party, I guess, because that's somewhere that we can go as human beings, can't we? We make up stories about what people are thinking or not thinking, what people are doing or not doing, and we have this experience based on what we think is going on. And when I, instead of becoming the seeker and in pursuit of, getting attention, getting what I needed, I went on, immediately paused and went on, tagged someone and said, here's what I experienced in your presence, or this is what resonated with me. And what happened was this automagically something else emerged. And all of a sudden I was the source. I wasn't the seeker or the pursuer. Something was emerging from inside of me, and it was a felt experience. And what I received in that, when I gave a gift of confidence, it was received and then reciprocated. And it was this beautiful, auto-magic, synchro-destiny, fulfilling experience when I became the source. The thing that I thought I was lacking, I became the source of, and I gave it away, and what was returned and reciprocated was exactly what I was in search of outside of myself in the first place. Now, if that isn't magic, like, I literally have goosebumps all over my body, because it was such a in your face moment, an opportunity to take a look at something and shift my context around how I see things. So instead of feeling like victimized and downhearted and like I was missing out and everything else, I was able to switch that right around and have a completely different experience, because I chose to do something differently. I experienced and related and communicated in a different way than I normally would, which would be just to cross my arms and feel sorry for myself and be sad that nobody's noticing me, or be sad that no one really missed me. And that's a pretty high expectation that these people that I don't really know that well, that I've been on a call a couple of times with, would come and say, oh, we really missed you today. And that's exactly what I got as soon as I became the source and I let it emerge from within me. I gave it away to be in service and to let people know that they had inspired or touched me. I resonated in some way with what was being said, or there was a level of pride from their ownership around the stuff that they were doing. And immediately, like literally immediately, what was turned around was this gift, this golden gift, an opportunity to receive what was born out of me. It emerged from me, I gave it away, and it was immediately reciprocated. And it was so magical to experience that on a soul level, and experience what it's like to be more mindful of being the source in those situations, and allowing things and welcoming things to emerge from within. Because I totally switched that with, first of all, my awareness, So being aware that it's happening, getting curious, isn't that interesting? There it is again, that experience of me feeling like I'm less important, like I'm less worthy, like I am less noticeable, like it's easier to ignore me. Whatever the stuff is that I was making up a story about, all of the sudden was muted and ceased to be the truth for me anymore. In that moment, I got to choose and empower myself to give away what I felt was lacking. And it wasn't even necessarily intentional, but I felt driven or pulled in order to make sure that I recognized and gave gifts to the people that inspired me to do so. And by doing that, I had a completely different experience today than I could have when I could have felt sorry for myself. And I noticed that it's not that I never go below the line. It's not that I never am in resistance to something. And it's not that I'm never feeling victimized by anything. But the length of time that I stay there is minuscule in comparison to what it has been in the past. And certainly progressively better and better and better. I don't like that word better, but faster. It's been happening faster and faster and faster. And so that to me matters, because all of the sudden I can see the outcomes of starting to think differently and switching my context around things, experiencing things from a different perspective, moving to a place where I'm like, isn't that interesting? Instead of, it's always going to be like this. Here we go again. And ultimately, through my choices, I create my destiny. And so how magical is that? Like literally auto magically everything fell into place. And I got given an opportunity today, someone sort of took me to task. They started asking for, something out of the context of what was being offered. And normally, as a people pleaser, I would run around trying to figure out how to make that happen. And instead, I came from a complete place of love. I didn't make them wrong for asking, but I told my truth. My answer is no. I don't want another Zoom call. I don't want to stretch myself to the point where I can't even see straight. And when I told my truth and I stand in it grounded and rooted to my truth, I'm in integrity when I do so to myself. And my point is received on the other end because it's not out of malice. It's not out of disrespect, and it's not out of disconnectedness. It's actually in line with feeling more connected internally and then allowing that process to happen. And for me, telling my truth hasn't always been easy because, ultimately, it sometimes has resulted in me offending someone. And I don't ever want to be the source of someone's pain, certainly not intentionally. And so I guarded myself and protected myself at all costs. And the problem was that I was doing myself a disservice. I wasn't allowing myself to step really into my truth and owning my position and really staying true to my intuitive process and telling it how it is. Like, instead of trying to people please or accommodate or fix, whatever's going on for this person, just saying, I see you, I hear you, I recognize what you're saying, I thank you for your question, and this is how this is going for me. And instead of trying to stumble all over myself and hurt myself in the process, I stood up for myself. I was grounded and rooted in my truth, and I just spoke it out. And that's a different feeling. It's a different experience that I'm used to experiencing. So, oh man, it's late. I'm tired. I love you. I'm so glad to be here every day with you. I hope you're enjoying the scenery out here. I so love it out here, and I love being able to share this room with you because to me, it's magic. It fills my cup. Thank you for being part of my garden of hope, seeing all the food growing behind me and the flowers and the hearts and just all the stuff. So much love out there from me, from my heart to yours. I'm so glad that you come here and that you're with me along on this journey. Thank you for being here. Love you. See you tomorrow.